lavender. I think that's for the bedroom, not for church. And the girl in the green, next one. What do we have to explain here? No belly. Next one. Next one. Hold it, yeah. Like, would it be better if I just hold it? Yeah. Oh, is that better? There we go. Okay, like this body hugging, it leaves nothing to the imagination. You know what I mean? It's like, it looks like club clothing, right? I know. I left mine too. Okay, next one. Okay. I mean, come on, ladies. And I know some of you say it's like, oh, it's just comfortable. I just go run errands in it. But it's like, what are you giving these guys, their minds, your meat, and that this belongs in the gym, not out in the streets. Next one. It looks like somebody attacked somebody, right? And then the other one is like, why do we have to wear something that is so like painted on us? And I'm not trying to, it's like, I know you're young, you're beautiful, but you don't have to paint clothes on you. So, okay, next one. Next one. Okay, so I've seen some girls do in church. The girl in the black shirt, you guys don't wear like as high as her, but you can do it just enough to tease. And so you make it really tight, and just leave enough little cleavage to, give a tease. Next one. Oh, here we go with these wedgie jeans. It's like, why do we need your jeans and your crack? It's like, come on, ladies. We don't need to go there. Next one. No. This is club clothes right here, right? I saw some of this at conference. This conference. That's okay. We've seen it at other conferences too, not just here. Okay, next one. We're good? All right. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about the subject of modesty, and I'm not here to upset you guys or, make you angry, because some things have to be addressed, because this is God's house, and we must respect His soul. And we'll start with, what is modesty? Modesty is a quality or state of being unassuming in behavior or appearance intended to avoid impropriety or indecency. 1 Timothy 2:9-10 says, in like manner that women adorn themselves in modest apparel. Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Place. When you get saved, you will learn to think and speak how God speaks. So renewing your mind means to replace the old way of thinking with the new way of thinking. There's some of you here that have recently given your life to Christ and have vocalized or thought, I like this church and I like the people I've become friends with, but I'm not going to change my way of dressing. That's because you haven't allowed God to renew your mind. renewing our minds, the Word of God will begin to transform the way you think. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 tells us, do you not know that your bodies are not your own? They are temples of the Holy Spirit. You're bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. Proverbs 7:10 says, then out came a woman to meet him dressed in a prostitute, attired with crafty intent, clever at achieving one's aims in indirect or deceitful methods, crafty and subtle or cunning. Genesis 3:1 says, now the serpent was the most cunning of any beast. By saying you're a serpent, no. The Bible says you're cunning in your behavior. Wearing no cleavage dress or a blouse. This is called suggestive. What does it suggest, ladies? That there's more than what you now see. I may let you look closer since I'm already willing to give you this much of a peek. It may start with you just with your clothing, but that is only temporary. Satan's plan is to get you into deeper sin. The world feeds off fast fashion. Women raising themselves based upon an unreachable standard of perfection. Isaiah 3:16, moreover the Lord says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will strike with a stab. What are wanton eyes? They're those seductive and sensual glances that some of you young girls do sometimes, right? It'll look to a guy, just enough for him to just notice you stretch out your little neck. And I saw at a conference in the restroom, they're prepping, I guess, for what they're going to come and do out here in the conference body. Bring out that little booty and stick out. So, and mincing steps, delicate steps, they're unnatural. Westernized culture, more than ever, hypersexualizes girls' debases, degrades women, shoving the message down your throats that your worth is almost entirely in our looks, our primary appeal and commodity to men, and what we have to offer them visually or sexually. Forms of social media that wants us to conform to their ways and make you decide what you will wear in order to be accepted. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, OnlyFans, and the cute peach butt. We are coached that women gotta look batty. Women are routinely sexualized, all under the mislabeling of girl power. So that essentially our power is found in our sexiness. Who are we allowing Christian ladies to dictate what we wear? Is it Cardi B? Demi Lovato? Megan Thee Stallion? Christina Aguilera? Little Mix? They say, my body, my choice, my rights, my voice. Is this who we are going to allow to tell us how to dress, ladies? What if women like dressing like sex objects encourages men to think of you as exactly that? Ladies, how we choose to dress is personal advertisement, as this results in judgment by others about us. Whether these perceptions or judgments are correct is in the point here. We judge the book by its cover. Your attire is your personal advertisement. What kind of advertisement are you portraying? So where does this immodesty come from? A big contributor is rejection. It could be several factors raised, girls raised without fathers, or lack of a healthy touch from a dad, non-sexual. It creates an inbuilt craving for male attention, and unfortunately, young girls quickly get the message and understand that your bodies can bring male attention, not good attention. Common reaction to rejection is sexual attention. The same goes for older women. Older women is just as guilty of immodesty. Even older Christians, maybe your husband's not giving you attention that he should. Maybe violations in the marriage, maybe even your childhood violations. Satan has gotten you to embrace that dressing immodesty is the way to feel loved by the improper attention you're beginning to receive. Ladies, you believe the devil's lies that you are not worth anything, so you are driven by how you dress. You want people to see you. Sexual attention, you want the eye of every man. Modesty gets us attention. We have decided that wrong, unclean attention is good. It is a symbol and indicator of our worth as a lady. It seems to offer us, or so we think, a sense of validation. Granted, it's one that is fleeting and is temporary, yet we still chase it. What's our responsibility as a church? Titus 2:3-5 says, as Christian women, we have the responsibility to keep God's house a safe haven where God's people can come and hear the word of God. So what if a woman comes dressed immodest to church, ladies? I get it, we have new converts. We come in with our sinful nature, but there comes a time when they must be dealt with and reminded that this is a place of worship, not a club. That immodest dress will not be tolerated. Then the next thing, what if it's sister so-and-so daughter? She will get offended. Well, sister so-and-so is not going to deal with her daughter, then it's your responsibility as a Christian to deal with that girl that is dressing immodest. Who are we more worried about? Offending the sister or offending God? We got to protect the men in our church too. Men already have to go out into their jobs or just even out and about and deal with this garbage that is out there. There's no reason why immodesty should be tolerated in God's house. You may be saying right now, well, they shouldn't be looking if they're Christians, right? Well, they're not looking, you're just putting it out there. You're offended if you get dealt with. Well, you offend us when you dress immodest in church. The issue here is Christian women rather just sit and gossip of how that sister is immodest in her dress, but do nothing about it. Ladies, we must not allow the world to have its way into our churches. The world has crept in churches and we're okay with it. We say nothing at all. No, the pastor's not going to deal with it. You must be the ones. What are we waiting for these ladies, these immodest girls, to destroy the work that God has done in our men, and is doing them and in young women that are truly want to serve God? What is truly attractive is the Holy Ghost confidence ladies that are drawn to confident ladies, not outward immodest confidence. Modesty brings temporal outward confidence and makes you search for more modest ways to dress to attract men's eyes, to make us feel accepted and loved. For Proverbs 30, Lord shall be praised. That is pretty much what I have to say. My daughter, Carolyn, she was raised in church, but backslid and went and did the things of the world, and she's going to share her version of immodesty. Do we want to do the questions first, or? Mom.
Okay, hello, my name is Carolyn. So, like my mom had mentioned, I was born into church. I was born into a family that I guess you could say was the ideal family. So I knew right from wrong. I knew how I was supposed to dress, what I was supposed to act like. I had that solid foundation. I didn't have an excuse where I had a broken home or anything. No, like I mean, my dad's a pastor. I didn't have an excuse. But despite being in church, I still had the influences of the world pulling on me, and they pull on us daily in our workplaces because I started to think back, okay, where did I give access to like that into my life? Like, where was that planted? And I remember a day when I was working, I worked at a smoothie shop. It was right across the street from a gym. And my manager told me, if you wear little shorts, you'll get bigger tips. And so, young, naive me was like, okay. So I did, of course, you get more tips, but I remember that clearly was the day that I learned, okay, this is how I can use my body to get what I wanted. I learned how to manipulate, and then it just kind of moved on from there. So I was still in church, but let's fast forward years down the line, and even though I learned everything at church, I still decided like I knew what was best for me, so I left church. I backslid for several years, and during that time, it's when I began to become involved in many things that I said that I would never do. I began to want to try what the world deemed as normal. Like I wanted to be the girl that was, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with her. She is down to do whatever, and it literally whatever I was like, oh, I'm not gonna say no. Like I'm just gonna do it. So slowly over time, I began to lose myself. I began to dress more and more modestly. I began to sleep around, and you may think like, well, what does that have to do with immodesty? But it's like when you begin to dabble in certain things, you begin to open doors, and one thing leads to another, and then before you know it, you don't even recognize yourself. And I had come to that point, and so for me, it started with me dressing inappropriately because I knew I could catch the men's attention. So I wanted that attention. I wanted to feel something, so I flaunted myself like I was this object or this sex item instead of a child of God. And so during that time, I lost my sense of self-worth. I began sleeping around. And I had come to a point where I was sleeping around so much, I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just become an escort then, and I can gain money from that, which totally twisted way of thinking. But like I mentioned, like you lose yourself, like when you open certain doors. And so I remember one time I was at a gentleman's house. I had no idea who he was. It was like way out in the boondocks. I had like no signals, literally the grace of God that I'm here today because I was constantly putting myself in situations. But I clearly remember being there, and I remember being in the restroom, and I remember like just holding myself and like, sorry, just thinking to myself, like, where have I come? Like, I don't even recognize myself anymore. Like, I don't know this person, like anything. And I remember like I felt ugly. I felt like I had no self-worth, no dignity. And I remember like a couple of days later, I got a text from my dad, and he told me that he loved me. And it was such, like, it's not that he hadn't told me that before, like, but like it was just the timing, and I knew it was God. And did I listen right away? Did I go back to church right away? No, like I stayed out. But just hearing those words, like you're lovable, even though you've put yourself into situations where you've just degraded yourself so much you don't feel lovable anymore, like it's stuck with me. So I came back into church eventually after God broke me down a little bit more. And you would think that being back in church, me having that base, like how I knew how I was supposed to dress, then I would dress how I was supposed to dress, but I didn't. I was in the pastor's office, or the pastor's wife was having to talk to me, and it was like she said, like I was like, well, if they don't like it, then they don't have to look at me. Like that was my attitude. Like I had a bad attitude towards it. I didn't see anything wrong with how I was dressing. But slowly over time, I was like, okay, fine. Like, I won't have it so short. I'll make it go a little bit longer. Like, it'll be just right above the knee. And, like, maybe they'll be quiet then. And so, like, just little by little, but I was still wearing, like, tight clothes. I wasn't showing cleavage or anything, but it was, like, real form-fitting on the butt or real form-fitting on the boobs, just showing just enough cleavage. And it wasn't until I basically... It wasn't until I began to pray more that I was like, okay, you know what? Like I say that I'm a Christian, but my actions, they don't reflect that. I can say that I believe in God. I can say that I'm changed, but if I don't do it in how I carry myself or in how I dress, like that's truly what's inside of me, and it's going to manifest itself on the outside, no matter what you say, basically. So, like I said, I began to pray and ask God, you know what, like God, like help me make these necessary changes and to change my mindset that was just focused on me and concerned, not really concerned about others or how my actions were affecting them, because I was like, well, the way I dress doesn't affect or have impact on anybody. The way that I dress doesn't matter. But in Romans 14:13, it actually tells us, therefore, let us not judge one another anymore, but rather resolve this, not to put a stumbling block or a cause to fall in our brother's way. So in actuality, our actions and our decisions need to be ones that glorify God, not just in prayer and worship, but in the way that we dress, in the way that we carry ourselves, because when we repent, we give our lives to God, and we are a new creation, and we're supposed to be new in the way that we act. So we cannot bring our old ways and our old mindsets into our new walk with God. We have to make a decision to love God, not just with our words, but the way that we dress and carry ourselves. And so when I finally truly understood that God loved me and that I was truly forgiven, then I began to like, oh, okay, I feel a little like I feel awkward like wearing this, or this isn't appropriate. Like I shouldn't be wearing that. Or I would ask like, hey mom, like, is this okay to wear? Like, do the bend over test, like just different things to where I was making like an active choice and active decision to really be conscientious about what I was wearing and how that was affecting others. And I remember, like, once I started making those changes, I used to be scared, like, when I would see a young lady and she was wearing something a little crazy, I didn't want to approach because I was like, well, who am I? Like, because they've seen me come in here dressing all crazy, and then I'm going to be like, hey, sister, you shouldn't be wearing that. But that was just the devil's lie because, of course, yes, we have our pastors and we have our pastors' wives, and those relationships are definitely important and necessary, and I'm not saying that they're not. But we also need to have godly friends and family that can speak into our lives and correct us when we need it, because it's crucial in our walk with God. And when I say family, I don't just mean blood relatives. Like, I mean a godly woman in church, because when you're in church, we're a family of God. And they should be able to speak into your life because they're trying to help you. Like when somebody goes up to you and approaches you, hey, you're whatever they discuss to you, like, it's not that they want to nitpick at you. It's like they see that you're hurting, because we know how it is. Like, and I say we because, I've approached people before. Like, we know what it is to struggle, to hurt. We see the signs and such. So you should want to take that help, and you should want to change, because you should want to move further in your walk with God. And we're all beautiful young ladies, jewels, apples of his eye. So we should carry ourselves like we are a child of a king. And no matter what you've done or what has happened in your life, like, just always remember that you are a child of a king.
I'm going to try to answer these questions to the best of my ability.
Okay, let's see. As an older woman in the church, we should invest on the young and speak with grace. Lead. I come from the world dressed very provocative. And Liz Gordon, I don't understand this. Liz Gordon took me under their wing and taught me not in a rebuke or condemnation. In other words, she didn't rebuke me or condemn me. So it's just mainly a statement. It's not a question. Whoever wrote this is not a question. It's, in other words, whoever.
I think there's something.
Okay, there we go. We as women that are older should invest time not gossiping about the sister who is struggling, but being a help. Is this what we should be doing?
Yes, we should be encouraging. But like I said earlier, there comes a time when you're going to have to get dealt with, and they're not doing it in a malicious way. They're not trying to mock you. If anything, that lady that is approaching you is, there's others that are actually talking about you, and she's actually being kind and saying, hey, sister, you've got to change the way you dress, because it creates all kind of craziness. It's like you girls that dress immodestly, it's like you need to think of couples, married couples, the things that you're putting into other people's minds, battles that you're creating, because of the way you're dressing. So be sensitive to others. Don't just think about yourself and what makes you happy.
Another one. This is, what's an appropriate length for skirts and dresses?
Okay. I could even say like all the way to down here, but then it'd be like on you.
Yeah,
And it's like, it's like literally hugging your butt. And it's like, there's like nothing left. You know what I mean? So then you can have a girl that goes right below the knee, you know what I mean? But then they're like super tight. Or you have the dress that is like the one in the video, you know, the little short dress. Seriously, like those dresses or those skirts, when I bend over to hug loose, like the poor people behind you. Or you go to the altar and, you know, here you can't even really bend over at the altar. You have to sit down, and even there you're, you know, pulling and pulling. So, you know, look in front of the mirror, ladies.
Yep.
Don't just like put whatever, you know, you think you look cute in, and okay, here we go, we're going to church, you know. Be considerate of others.
I knew of a church that had a measuring stick as you came in. We're not gonna do that, but I mean, you guys know. I mean, if you're constantly doing this, that's when you should know it's two. And
When it
it's
becomes
true.
a crease,
Yeah.
you know, you get a crease right there when stuff
Yeah.
is real tight, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you're getting up from the chair, and you're pulling, and you're pulling, you know what I mean? And it's like you're pulling on your shirt, you're pulling on your blouse skirt. It's like, why wear it?
Okay, here's another. How would you address inappropriate dress code in a nice way?
I'm pretty blunt, okay? So, but you can be very direct, but be nice about it too. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. We went to the Tucson conference, and we were walking into the building of the sanctuary. And sister, show your booty. She was literally showing her panties. Literally, I could see her color of her panties. And so I don't know who she is, but I went up to her, which you should too. So I said to her, "Come here, girl." And so she, you know, I pulled her aside from her friends, and I just said, "Listen, I couldn't help. You know what I mean? It's like I'm walking behind you, and I could see everything." She goes, "Oh my gosh, what should I do?" I'm like, "How about we start by pulling your skirt down?" And so I said, you know, if I was showing my hiney, I would want somebody to tell me that I'm showing my hiney. And so I wasn't like, "I cannot believe you're wearing that to church." I wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? It was just, you just tell people. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we're safe people now. We shouldn't be wearing this. That young lady, she's married. She's married to a safe husband. And so, and you know, there's some of ladies that are married. Why the husband does not tell you to wear something else, I'm not quite sure. You know what I mean? And, you know, he thinks, you know, "Oh, you look cute." No, you don't look cute. You look sexy. And not everybody appreciates that. If he wants you to wear that, you wear that in your house. You know what I mean? He needs to respect God's house too, not just you. But tell them nicely. I had a girl in my church just last week. She had a serious wedgie. She just likes to wear her clothes like that. And she was washing some dishes at church, and I went and pulled it out. I go, "Girl, that's a serious wedge you got going on." And so, and she goes, "Oh." And so, but you know what? She made herself aware that, like, hey, like, you know what I mean? So she's walking and she's pulling it out. You know, there's such a thing as Spanx.
Thank you,
Right?
Jesus, for those.
And, you know, wear them, ladies. They're there to help us. They're not just there to just...
Okay. All right. How do you deal with immodesty when the woman is allowed to be immodest but also helps lead the youth? So she's in the youth ministry.
youth girl is
and then
immodest.
She's immodest.
You know, you talk to her just like you would talk to anybody else. You know, you pulled her aside and say, you know, you're an example. And there's girls that are following you. And you know what, they're looking at you. You know what I mean? And don't let them use you as an excuse to keep on living the way they're living, or to maybe begin to dress like you because they look up to you. They're going to start doing what you're doing. And so you have to think, you know what I mean, if you're willing to take the position of leadership, that, you know what, people are looking at me, and I'm going to be an example, and so they're going to dress the way I dress, act the way I act. You know what I mean? It's like when we took over the South Side, the ladies, you know, they weren't so into like dressing. I mean, I'm not saying like dress up all, wow, look, she's going out for a date, you know, but for the concerts, I would just dress nice, you know what I mean? Comb your hair, put makeup on, you know? And they're like, you know, the ladies are beginning to dress like you. And so we're testimonies, whether we want to or not, we are. And so you need to consider that, you know what I mean? And there's girls that they lack confidence and they're gonna look at you and they're gonna do exactly what you do. So you have to you know, be considerate of them and think of them because you're no longer your own.
Should we help out that sister financially or get help for a modest closet? Thrift store. Yay.
Yeah, you could take her to the thrift store. Maybe you can give her, like, you know, maybe, you know, ladies, you know, sometimes ladies, they pass on dresses or, you know, clothing to other sisters. I mean, I've done it. You know what I mean? It's like I see a new convert coming in. And it's not, sometimes it's not even an immodest thing. It's the fact that, like, you know what, I see that she doesn't really have a whole lot of dresses. And, oh, look, this will look nice on you, you know. I have a girl in my church and I saw her in a nice, you know, loose-fitting dress, and I'm used to seeing her and painted on stuff. And so I go, what do we owe the occasion, girl? And so she says, oh, it's because I forgot my clothes for conference, and so I had to go shopping and get these kind of funny-looking dresses. I go, no, girl, you should wear more of those. And so, you know what I mean? And so there's ways that you can help people, you know what I mean? And just... if you want to bless them, you want to go buy something, you can, you know what I mean? You can pass it on, or you can ask her, like, hey, do you have, you know, other clothing? And you're going to see when people get saved and they really, really, really get saved, you know, God is going to put that in us, like, ugh, I feel weird, you know what I mean? And when I got saved, you know what I mean, I was guilty party too, you know what I mean? I wear the short shorts, the little tops, low, you know what I mean? And one time I ran into Pastor Ruby, I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because I had this little bit of shorts and this top, and I didn't know which way to pull, like up or down. And so, but it was good because he made me like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. So, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe you have to get to the point where it's like, oh my goodness, there's the church people. And then some girls, they dress a certain way to church, but then they leave church and they do not dress like Christian girls. And I've told girls before, it's like, you know, you're a Christian here, and you're a Christian outside too. And so, yeah.
Why do men look at women who dress immodestly?
It's not that they're looking. You know what I mean? We're visual creatures. And, I mean, if you flaunt it, you know what I mean? It's like, and you know what you're doing, ladies. You know, don't act like, oh, I didn't know. Yes, you did know. I knew when I was acting like a little hoochie, I knew what I was doing. I wanted that guy to notice. I wanted, you know what I mean, attention. And like, for example, like workout pants. Why do girls feel like they have to wear workout pants all day? I don't know. You know what I mean? You leave nothing to the imagination. And so they're not trying to be looking. Is you girls, you know what I mean? It's like, have some decency, you know what I mean? And respect people. Whether it's a married man or single man, they're not trying to look, you know what I mean? It's just, you're the one that's putting yourself out there.
Is it okay to show your back? Good question.
Why do you feel like you got to show your back? I always, before, like I remember I used to tell Yolanda, I love bareback blouses. But it's like, because I wanted to look sexy. But it's like, why? You know what I mean? Why do you feel like you have to be showing your back? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't see the point in it. I mean, it looks, it creates things in here when men or women see it. You know what I mean? There's no need for that. You know what I mean? You create things in people's minds, you know what I mean? And you make people struggle, and they're not trying to. It's just, you're putting it out there.
I'll add to that, especially the young women or the women that are getting married, the backless wedding gowns and stuff like that. I'm going to let you know, Pastor's going to be on that. And sleeveless, no strapless, no backless, and no frontless, if that's...
Or the big slit.
Yeah. Yeah.
The slit's like up here.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I'm getting married.
but when I stand up, it closes. Yeah, but when you walk, girl, like everything is showing. You sit down. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
You sit down, and that thing opens, and then you're trying, and you're pulling, like all service. It's like, why wear it?
Yes, okay. Is it okay to dress up and look pretty, just dress? Oh, this is a statement. It's okay to dress up and look pretty, just dress modest. That's a statement, okay. Okay, this is also a statement. Recommend wearing Spanx and slips. Slips. Right?
You know, and sometimes like those, I like those ivory color dresses. Um, you know, it's like they come with a slip, but then you wear a slip, another slip, and you still like see everything. I saw a girl in conference. She's talking to her husband, but there's a brother behind her. He is there, right? Watching a movie the whole time, like, because she like is like, girl, why do you have to wear that to church? Like, it's like that poor brother. You know what I mean? It's like he's already struggling. I mean, they come with their battles and stuff, and then you come dressed like that to church. You don't make things any easier. And these men really, they are trying to serve God. You know what I mean? We all come with bondages and struggles, and then you don't make it easier doing that. And then like the cleavage, you know, the poor brother's coming to pick up offering. They're like, there you are with the cleavage right there. And it's like, literally, he's not trying to look. It's just, you're literally flaunting it right there. So cover up, ladies. Yours is not showing.
Is it appropriate to wear ripped jeans on stage? Is it bad to show your shoulders?
I mean, I don't mean, I've worn like, you mean like not a spaghetti one, but the thicker, you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't come to church here. I mean, maybe Sister Renee has a different standard, and it's okay, you know what I mean? And so we don't allow the ripped jeans for performing up here. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of the ripped jeans. I don't see the purpose of them. But, you know, do you have them? Sorry, ladies. But I don't know. I don't know where you do it. To show a little bit of skin to maybe like, I don't know. I always think it's like some girls that do it, they wear like all these holes everywhere. And it's like, what? Like, it's like you're trying to like entice and like start something in their people's heads. I don't know.
While she looks at that one, when I came to church, I'll say something real quick. I wore my pants so tight. Believe it or not, I was skinny at one time. But I wore my pants so tight, I would lay down and get a hanger, and I couldn't even bend my legs. I don't know how I sat down. But it was my menudo pants, right, Nora? My menudo pants, my Ricky Martin, my Luis Miguel, my Juan Gabriel. Don't mess with my menudo pants. Belen Luna was the one that told me, Luz, those are so tight. I mean, you could see the front, you know, the line. I mean, come on, girls, you know. And then when I would take them off, bloop, 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 bloop. I mean, but I wore them tight so that guys could see me. And so, yes, Belen helped me out at the beginning. Like one of the questions she answered, she blessed me with clothes. But then when I started buying my own clothes, I knew better. I knew how to start buying better clothes. So we know. And don't, you know, you might look at us, because one of the things I've gotten is, well, you're old. I don't want you to dress like a nun. But I've been there. I got saved when I was 13. So I know what it is to wear the tight pants, or what's going on right now, the skinny jeans. I like the slim fit too, but I mean, some of you wear the skinny slim fit. It has to say that, if not, you won't wear it, and that's when you guys know, when it's so tight, it's not even funny. So, and then.
Okay, somebody said, can teenagers hug each other? I'm assuming boy, girl, right? For what? I mean, what do you feel like you have to be hugging? You know what I mean? It's like chest with his chest. You know what I mean? It's like, why? Why do you have to be hugging him? It's like, what's wrong? Why can't you just hug him? Hello, brother. You know what I mean? Or hi. You know what I mean? You start stuff. You know what I mean? Why do you want to spark something that should not be there? Oh, but I don't mean that way. He's just a friend. We've known each other since we were in nursery. And it's like you don't need to be hugging. It's like we don't go around hugging others. It's like, why do you feel like you have to be hugging people? Because that's how all the craziness begins, and you know that. If you're asking this, you know that. So, but
That was it. That was it on the questions, yes.
good. All right, ladies, I'm gonna give it over to Luz.
Okay. Okay, so again, thank you. As Alicia comes up, are you gonna come up and thank you guys, like always, these are always a blessing. I am amazed at always the turnout of all the people. And, you know, if anything, if we can help you guys, just remember, we've been there, you know what I'm saying? And so we could help you to live right good lives. And, you know, it's one of the most important thing, I think, what she was saying, you know, because I've seen the guys behind the girls and they're like this, they don't know where to look. I mean, come on, you know, and just that if we could help you dress better, and you'll have a great marriage, you'll have great friendships, and you guys can help us with other girls, and they might not just be teenagers, but older ladies or new converts. And so that is a real blessing, you know, and I think we do need to hear stuff like this to help us in our lives, especially as women, that we need, you know, every aspect of our lives. So
Okay, I'm not climbing up there. But I want to thank everybody again for coming. You guys are welcome to hang out. You don't have to leave. You guys can fellowship. But I do ask that you pick up your trash, and just, there's trash kind of all over the place. Throw it away. And then this is open for pictures. If you guys want to come take pictures, we'll move the stand and the mic so you guys can take pictures. We want to thank Evelyn. She made the backdrop. I think she's over here somewhere. Oh.